Hello, my name is Tanner West with Fox News, and we always keep it foxy. Today I'm going to be taking you back to the 1950s and discuss consumerism, fashion, suburbanization, presidents, and the Korean War.
Hi, my name is Kaylee McKetta, and I'll be talking about fashion and suburbanization in the 1950s. Women in the 1950s wore very long skirts and showed the bottom of their ankles. Thin waist and big hips were very popular back then due to the change of culture. Evolving their style was due to the Korean War. Breaking tradition for how they dressed was a popular part of moving on after the war. Collared shirts for women was very popular in the 1950s and showed a type of way to express women's rights. Corduroy and wool coats and trousers were very popular for men's fashion in the 1950s. Sweater vests were very popular also. It wasn't dirty, it was actually cool. Now let's talk about suburbanization and car culture. Most unsafe cars were in the 1950s, but they were classy and valuable. Many people valued their cars. In the 1957, Chevy was the most favorite car of the majority of the people in the 1950s. They came up with the concept of sports cars, and sports cars were developed and well admired. Sedans were a common car that a lot of people used in the suburbs. After the World War II boom of population, it allowed creation of the suburbs, and many people lived there. Fashion and suburbanization was greatly affected by World War II. It greatly affected the population and allowed the U.S. to expand.
Hi, my name is Ali Email, and I'm talking about the presidents and the Korean War in the 1950s. So President Truman, whose term ended in 1952, created the Truman Doctrine, which provided aid to any country fighting communism, which that led to the Korean War. The Korean War started when North Korea, which is communist, invaded across the 38th parallel into the anti-communist South. America's containment policy forced them to join the war and help anti-communist South Korea fight off the communist North Korea. Newly inaugurated President Eisenhower has overheard China and Russia talk about how they're going to join sides with North Korea and help them contain communism. Russia and China, who are also communist, have been overheard talking with North Korea about giving them their support. President Eisenhower fears a worldwide war between the three of the communist nations. President Eisenhower then threatened nuclear weapons, causing a ceasefire in the war. An armistice is being signed between the U.S. and the Korea that allows the prisoners of war to stay where they like. It also drew a new 38th parallel that gives South Korea more land and a 2-mile-long demilitarized zone, which will also be created. North Korea retreated across the 38th parallel back into communist North Korea. And to this day, South Korea still remains anti-communist.
Hi, my name is Tanner West, and I am here to discuss consumerism in the 1950s. In the 1950s, the overall economy grew by 37%. By the end of the decade, the median family had about 30% more purchasing power in the United States. Unemployment also dropped as low as 4.5%. Advertisement and product placement was a huge factor in the consumer boom. Since TVs were just getting popular, people were seeing advertisements on TV. People in the U.S. in the 1950s finally had enough money to spend money on basically all the goods that were getting made. For example, Americans purchased 20 million refrigerators, 21.4 million cars, and 5.5 million stoves heading into the 50s, and the numbers only increased. Americans were consuming a third of the world's goods. In fact, by 1952, America was supplying the world with 65% of its manufactured goods. Industries like the television industry, the plastic industry, the jet engine industry, and the mass housing industry all came from the consumer boom. The new way of spending started in the 50s, where people started spending money with the first credit cards. The first credit card was the Diners Clubs card and was only allowed at certain restaurants. Credit cards and borrowing in the U.S. did bring a private debt of over $150 billion. Not only was the U.S. great in the 1950s, there were some bad things about it too. 25% of the country was still in poverty. These people lived in urban areas and like in the Appalachian Mountains. Although the percentage is high with the people that lived in poverty, the people still claim to say that 1950s was the best decade. This concludes our segment on 1950s here from Fox News. I'm Tanner West. I'm telling all you guys to keep it foxy.